Pokemon is kind of boring. Now, hey, don't get the wrong idea. I'm as big a Pokemon fan as Pete Challengers or Patters, but recently the main series games have been seriously lacking in the fun department we expect from them. The Pokemon community would much rather go back and replay Platinum for the 40th time than do a Pokemon Sword and Nuzlocke. But why is that? What do the older games do that the newer games can't get right? My name's Archer, and today I'm going to be diving deep into the Pokemon franchise and explaining how to make the best Pokemon main series game, while also keeping it consistent and realistic to what we have, so there aren't going to be major gameplay changes like you see in all the other videos people make of their ideal Pokemon game, but instead the major changes are going to be made through storytelling and world building. Without further ado, let's get right into it. I made the next Pokemon game, so Nintendo doesn't have to. Hey. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to subscribe. It really helps out a lot and keeps me motivated to make good content like the video you're watching now. Anyways, enjoy the video. The first thing we're going to talk about before getting into any story discussion or gameplay elements is actually the naming of the games. Pokemon has this naming scheme where they take two things that are kind of in the same category and make them into two different games. Red and blue are colors, gold, silver, and crystal are materials, ingots, metal, or even a luster if you wanted. Ruby and sapphire are gems, diamond and pearl are also gems, but they have a shine to them. The same can be said about platinum. Black and white, again, colors, X and Y are alphabet letters, sun and moon require no explanation, and finally sword and shield are considered to go hand in hand with one another when fighting. All Pokemon games follow this simple concept, and so to keep in tow with the naming schemes, we have to make a game as something similar, but because most games past Generation 1 are about legendary Pokemon on the box, we should also do the same. So much like the game we created itself, our new Pokemon game is going to be a bit more complex in their name. I present Pokemon Order. The reason I say Pokemon Order is because I think the idea of making two games that ultimately aren't that different from one another just to make more money is counterintuitive and not healthy for the overall game population. However, this is Game Freak and Nintendo we're talking about, so naturally we also have to hate our players and fans. Enter Pokemon Order and Pokemon Chaos. Despite the two games, I personally am not going to treat the two games as they're any different. Much like the main series, these games will also be replicas of each other in every possible way. So when I say Pokemon Order, I'm referring to both games in the video. As for the legendary Pokemon on the box, Pokemon Order will feature none other than Arceus himself. For too long, Arceus was given this really interesting lore, and then they completely dropped it in Platinum and never expanded upon it. I mean, the god of Pokemon? That's something you can't just ignore without giving more explanation to it. Pokemon Order will explore that lore of Arceus and how Pokemon were created, as well as providing a hierarchy of legendary Pokemon as a whole. With all that established, let's talk setting. Arceus is the creator of all Pokemon, the god of them, if you will. But what if there was more than one god of Pokemon? Media takes inspiration from religion all the time. Even Star Wars takes its core concept from Christianity, with Anakin being Jesus. Pokemon games have explored all kinds of regions across the world. Japan? Japan again? Another Japan? Yet another Japan, oh my god. Then America, and then France, Hawaii, and now with Sword and Shield, England. There's a common trend amongst the newer games where they try to explore other parts of the world, and for Pokemon Order, we're going to be going to the hearth of gods and mythology itself, Greece. In order to expand upon the lore of the god of Pokemon, we need to travel to the home of mythology itself, and this actually opens up the way for more creative freedom for the writers over at Game Freak to expand their lore heavily. All we've gotten so far from Pokemon games is small mentions in the Pokédex of Arceus is the god of Pokemon, and Mew was the first Pokemon, but that's really about it. With Pokemon Order, we're hoping to change that. Greece is the perfect setting for a plot like this, with a large mainland that the main gyms can be on, and a ton of islands on the sea between it and Turkey. Each island can have its own significance, but that's something I'll be touching on later. With all the possibilities here, we can really start to see how the geography of Pokemon Order is already shaping up to be really healthy for the overall franchise, and the idea of a mainland and a series of islands isn't something that's really been touched on since Fire Red and Leaf Green with the Sevi Islands. Sure, we had a bunch of islands in Sun and Moon, but there was never really a real mainland that connected it all. With Order, we want to combine the two ideas we've seen in games prior, but with this idea of having a mainland and a series of islands, there's a really important point that I can't overlook in the slightest. The 3D Pokemon games do a terrible job of scale. Look no further than Sword and Shield to see what I mean. Their entire focus is on the wild area, which is a fantastic addition to the game, but resulted in the actual routes in the game taking a major sideline. In these games, 60 feet of dirt and a small bridge connected each town, with the occasional linear cave. There was no sense of scale like there was in the 2D games such as Platinum, where each cave had its layers to it that were interconnected to other towns, and the routes felt long, and sometimes grueling due to how long of a distance there was between cities. The 3D games don't really have that, and it's one of the aspects that definitely need to improve upon. And this isn't a hardware issue. The Nintendo Switch can run The Witcher 3, which is easily 1,000 times larger than Sword and Shield. So what I'm proposing here is a much larger world than we've seen before. More routes, different Pokemon encounters, more trainers, and more distance between cities are all completely plausible, and are much needed to add a level of freshness to Pokemon. And this is a super minor point, but I also wanted to touch on this. A lot of people looked at Gen 2 as like this perfect game, and everybody wished we could do what Gen 2 did and having the ability to go back to another region and have more player choice. But I think Pokemon Challenges did a really good job of explaining why that's a bad idea, but to summarize, basically having that sense of non-linearity ruins the game due to the 3 gyms you have the choice between all having to be around the same level, which in turn makes all of them super easy. The same can be said for Kanto as well, because you can kind of do all the gyms in whatever your order. As well, the level curve in the game is really bad due to having 2 regions, and so the wild Pokemon you can catch are at such a low level, it makes leveling them up incredibly annoying and tedious. So let's touch on that non-linearity thing really quick. Guys, this is a really easy problem to fix, and I'm surprised that Game Freak hasn't implemented this before. To fix the issue of making gyms non-linear and easy as a result, you just create level brackets. Whatever level the highest level on your team is, the gym uses a different level team. So let's say there's a bracket of 30, 35, and another bracket of 36 to 41. Depending on where the highest level Pokemon on your team falls into, that gym leader uses that bracket's team. It's a super easy fix and actually ensures more skill on the player's part. If they wanted to overlevel their Pokemon to level 80, the gym leaders would have a team to match that as well, making the game much harder by comparison. I'm not a game designer though, so I can't speak on why it hasn't been implemented yet, but it's just something cool to talk about and maybe put in, because, you know, who doesn't love a little fan ideas being thrown out there? Next, we're going to talk about the 2 regions point. Pokemon Order shouldn't have the ability to explore the regions in their entirety, but instead to catch legendary Pokemon, you can go to small sections of other regions through a plot device that we talked about in the story section of the video. Basically, you go through a portal, and you go with the intention of catching legendary Pokemon, similar to how Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire did their legendary Pokemon catching, but this has more grounds in the story and makes a lot more sense. For Kanto, you can have Cerulean City, since it has that cave where you can catch Mewtwo. For Johto, you can have the Whirl Islands, where each level of the island has a chance for Raikou, Entei, or Suicune to spawn, with the final floor being Lugia or Ho-Oh. For Hoenn, you'd have Sootopolis City, where you can catch Kyogre or Groudon inside the cave in the city, but you can also use Dive to get yourself to the ocean to explore underwater caves that may have the Reggie Pokemon, but eventually as you come up from the underwater, you arrive at the Sky Pillar, where Rayquaza lies. For Sinnoh, you'd have Eterna City for Rotom and Mount Coronet, which eventually leads up to Dialga and Palkia and Giratina. For Unova, you'd have the Giant Chasm for Kyurem, Reshiram, and Zekrom, and for the other games you kind of get the idea. The idea is to not have a new region, but have callbacks to older regions in these smaller playable areas. That's how you do effective fan service for the game to ensure that it kind of stays similar, but at the same time it gives you those nice fan servicey moments for the other games that people have wanted for so long. Now that we've gotten the scale of the games out of the way, it's time to talk story. And guys, there's a lot to talk about. With Pokemon Order, I wanted to kind of take a step back and talk about the real origin of Pokemon. Not just talking about how Arceus is a god and Mew was the first Pokemon, but giving that a real story and an arc. It's gonna be great, it's gonna be fun. We kick off the story in a bustling city comparable to Athens in the center of the region. This is where the main character resides, and for story's sake we'll call him Alexander, but this is also the place where the Pokemon Lab resides, overseen by Professor Cypress. The Pokemon Lab is huge, as it's the center of all mainline research into Pokemon of the modern age. Luckily, Professor and Cypress and the mother go way back to their training days when they were rivals, so once the players come of age, he's agreed to give them a Pokemon to start their journey. You have the choice between a Fire-type dog, a Water-type snake, and a Grass-type horse. Each of these stars represent a fabled mythological creatures, and the theme of the newer Pokemon will be Greek mythology's monsters such as Cerberus, the Hydra, and Minotaurs. Harpies, Sirens, Chimeras, Sphinxes, and Pegasi are also Pokemon types we can encounter on different routes. After picking your star, the professor's nephew comes in, embarrassed but confident as he demands to get his own Pokemon. Outraged that the player got to pick their Pokemon first, he grabs a direct counter to the player's own as a battle between them breaks out. The player wins, the rival sneers that it was luck, and the professor informs them both that if they wish to go on a journey and complete the gym challenge, they may as well collect information on Pokemon along the way to help the professor. He hands them both a Pokedex and says the best gym to start will be at a nearby town that focuses on archaeological dig sites. The player goes home, talks to Mom gives running shoes, and the player is now off on their journey. I'm not going to talk about the exact Pokemon on every route and the minor details people probably don't care about, so we're just going to skip to the gym. This gym is a ground type specialist, so electric types are useless here, but grass and water thrive. After beating the gym leader, he asks for the player's help at the dig site, mentioning that he believes to have uncovered a rare Pokemon artifact. The player goes to the site with the leader and discovers a bracelet that tells him the time and sundials. Once the player puts the bracelet on, he feels a weird power surge and an ominous voice saying something along the lines of, "Thank you, champion," but nothing else comes from it. The gym leader thanks the player for her help and mentions that if they want to go on the gym challenge, they'll need to take on the next gym in a forest city that's quite a ways away. Hello?
Archer,
What? Yeah?
the artists, they're on strike. Someone said something on Twitter again.
No, not we're making the video.
Archer, they bailed on you. They're out.
What was on Twitter? What'd they say?
It was fucking racist, Archer. It was really racist. They're typing out their hashtags right now. It's trending Twitter. It's trending, Archer. Look on Twitter. It's trending.
Oh my god, oh no. Okay, so what do we gotta do here then?
I hate to break it to you, but you got 5 minutes left to finish this video.
5 minutes.
Yes, 5 minutes.
Okay, 5 minutes, alright. Thank you for letting me know, Nari.
No problem.
Okay, I'm gonna go now. So the forest city is just a normal city, so the player goes there, does the event, and gets the badge, and in the process meets the evil team in the game, because, you know, we all need an evil team in a Pokemon game. They're just like, yeah, I'm evil, I'm gonna take Pokemon, it's really cool, and the player beats him in a battle. Except the player follows the bracelet and ends up meeting Arceus, and Arceus goes, hey kid, I'm the god of all Pokemon, I'm kind of a big deal, so if you want to help me out with this problem I have, I'd be more inclined to give you some gifts, like, say, I don't know, any legendary Pokemon you want? And the player agrees, so Arceus is all like, ah, sick dude, okay, I didn't think that would work, so I'll just be in contact, and he disappears. The player does some non-linear gyms and events side to each area like I talked about in the scale section of the video, but with those level brackets, it's not terrible to play, and once that happens, Arceus calls the player again and goes, hey there kid, I got a super important mission to tell you about, so come to my mountain. And the player goes, you have a mountain? And Arceus responds, of course I have a mountain, it's a Pokemon game. So the player goes to the mountain and meets Arceus, and Arceus is all, hey man, be super cool to these guys in this room, they're kind of a big deal and I really want to impress them. This is kind of our first official meeting, so I can't have you embarrassing me. So the player and Arceus talk to a bunch of legendary Pokemon from older games about the problem at hand, to which Arceus says, oh yeah, in case I didn't tell you, the super evil Pokemon that the evil team's working for, yeah, that's kind of me. So which player's like, wait, what? Arceus goes, yeah, I kind of let a huge war happen that killed a bunch of innocent Pokemon in the process, so I kind of like separated myself and my power in half so I could send another omniscient being to watch over the dead Pokemon while I watch the ones that are alive. One of the legendary Pokemon's just like, that was a terrible idea, and Arceus goes, oh yeah, 100%. Turns out I gave all my negative aspects to that guy, but anyway, let's go to this island and catch the sleeping Mew and bring him back so he can give us a better plan. So the player goes to do just that. The player has to beat his mom, who's a gym leader, and then they take a boat to the island with Mew and the 7th gym, but the rival's there, who he's been fighting all game, and he's like, hey loser, you suck, battle me. So naturally he loses the battle and whines about it. They get to the island, get the 7th gym badge, and then they capture Mew and head back. Mew's like, dude, why did you wake me up to talk to this idiot? And Arceus goes, Mew, listen buddy, I know we have our problems, but once this is all taken care of, we can put you right back to sleep. So they decide the best plan to take down Dark Arceus is to just battle it, really, with Mew and Arceus in the party? Yeah. So they go to another island, fight the evil team one last time. The leader of their team has Dark Arceus under his control, so it all comes down to the battle. Luckily, we're the main character, so the player naturally beats the leader and saves the day. Arceus thanks the player as he merges with the other half yet again, and decides he's going to watch over both life and death this time. He stays with the player, and they take on the 8th gym. Next up, Victory Road. They fight the rival one last time, then take on the Pokemon lead. They make it through the champion, who turns to be the rival, and the rival goes, hey listen Dork, I'm better than you, and I'm gonna prove it. So they fight, and because they're the main character, we beat him again. Once it's over and done with, the player claims the champion's title, and that's actually the end of the game. And in traditional Game Freak fashion, we're going to completely scrap the epilogue and post-game content, and then hint at it with the mural in the last city. And that's how we end Pokemon Order. Thank you so much for watching. This is a larger scale video than I first anticipated, but I finally finished it, and man, it took a while. If you want to see more content like this, be sure to subscribe. It really helps out. But with all that being said, my name's Archer, and I hope you have a great night. See you next time.